In a world where noise dominates every aspect of life, constant notifications, endless conversations, and the ever-present hum of social media, true silence has become a rarity. Yet, in the teachings of Buddhism, silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is a gateway to wisdom, inner peace, and enlightenment. Have you ever noticed how moments of silence can reveal profound truths? How a pause in conversation can shift the energy of an argument? Or how quiet contemplation can bring clarity in the midst of chaos? Buddhism teaches us that silence is not just golden, it is transformative. It is a tool for deep reflection, self-control, and spiritual growth. In this video, we will explore 5 crucial moments in life where silence is not just advisable but essential. These insights, drawn from ancient Buddhist wisdom, can help us navigate emotions, conflicts, and suffering with grace and mindfulness. If you're seeking a path to greater peace and clarity, you're in the right place. Take a deep breath, slow down, and let's embark on this journey together. Don't forget to support Slowdown by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the notification bell. Your engagement helps us continue bringing meaningful content that inspires self-awareness and spiritual growth. Now, let's dive into the power of silence. Anger is like a wildfire. Once ignited, it spreads rapidly, consuming everything in its path. In the heat of the moment, our words become weapons, causing pain to others and leaving scars that may never fully heal. But Buddhism teaches that silence is the antidote to this destructive force. Thich Nhat Hanh, the renowned Vietnamese Zen master, once said, "Anger is like a storm rising from the bottom of your consciousness. When you feel it coming, turn your focus to your breath." This simple act of mindfulness, choosing silence over reaction, can prevent irreversible damage to our relationships and inner peace. A young monk once approached his master, fuming with rage after an argument with a fellow disciple. "Master," he said, "I must confront him. His words were unjust, and I cannot let this go." The master, calm and composed, handed the student a cup of tea and said, "Take this tea outside, stand still and do not drink it until the water is completely still." The student walked outside, but as he held the cup, the tea continued to ripple due to his unsteady hands. Frustrated, he returned to the master, saying, "The tea won't settle while I'm upset." The master smiled and replied, "Just as the tea will not settle in a shaking cup, your mind will not settle while consumed by anger. If you speak now, your words will be like this disturbed tea, clouded, impure, and likely to spill over." The student understood. He took a deep breath and chose silence, realizing that in waiting for his anger to settle, he would be able to respond with wisdom rather than fury. Buddhism teaches that anger arises from attachment to being right, to our desires, and to the illusion of control. When we allow anger to dictate our words and actions, we become prisoners of our own emotions. By choosing silence, we allow space for the storm of anger to pass. Instead of reacting impulsively, we create an opportunity for mindfulness, self-reflection, and understanding. When anger arises, take a deep breath, pause, and ask yourself, why am I truly angry? Is my reaction coming from ego or wisdom? Will my words heal or harm? Like the student in the story, we must learn to let the mind settle before we act. Silence in anger is not suppression, it is self-mastery. It is the art of holding power, rather than being controlled by it. Stay with us as we explore the next powerful moment where silence is the wisest choice. And if this lesson resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps Slowdown continue sharing these timeless Buddhist teachings. Words hold incredible power. They can uplift, heal, and inspire, but they can also wound, divide, and destroy. Gossip and slander are among the most harmful forms of speech, capable of eroding trust and sowing discord in families, friendships, and communities. In Buddhism, the principle of right speech, Samma Vaka, in the Noble Eightfold Path teaches that words should be true, beneficial, and spoken with good intention. When faced with gossip, our natural instinct might be to listen, engage, or even defend someone's honor. But silence in such moments is often the most powerful response. To participate in gossip, even as a listener, is to give it energy and life. By choosing silence, we refuse to be a vessel for negativity, stopping the cycle before it can grow. In Buddhism, speech is not merely sound, it carries karmic consequences. Gossip and slander, even when spoken in jest, plant negative seeds that will bear fruit in the future. Every word we speak shapes not only the world around us but also our own character and destiny. When we refrain from engaging in harmful speech, we protect our own peace of mind. Instead of polluting our consciousness with negativity, we cultivate noble silence, a practice of restraint that leads to inner clarity and wisdom. Buddhism teaches that indulging in gossip feeds our lower nature, our cravings for superiority, validation, or entertainment at the expense of others. The Buddha likened harmful speech to a man carrying burning embers in his hands, thinking to harm another but ultimately burning himself. By staying silent, we free ourselves from the entanglement of unnecessary drama. Silence becomes a shield against the toxicity of idle talk, allowing us to preserve our dignity and maintain harmony within our relationships. The Buddhist response to gossip. When encountering gossip or slander, consider these mindful approaches. Choose silence as a statement of non-participation. When someone tries to engage you in gossip, a simple pause or lack of reaction often signals disinterest, subtly discouraging the conversation from continuing. Redirect the conversation. If silence alone doesn't deter gossip, gently steer the discussion towards something more positive and meaningful. Cultivate compassionate understanding. Gossip often stems from unresolved pain, jealousy, or insecurity. Instead of fueling it, recognize its root causes and choose kindness over condemnation. Practice mindful listening. If someone is speaking negatively about another, instead of contributing, listen with an open heart. Sometimes, people gossip not out of malice but as a way to process their own emotions. By remaining silent yet present, we can avoid reinforcing their negativity while still offering them space to be heard. Silence as a path to inner peace. Buddhism teaches that true peace begins within. By refusing to engage in gossip and slander, we cultivate an environment of trust and integrity. When our words are pure and intentional, our hearts become lighter, our minds clearer, and our relationships more harmonious. Silence in the face of gossip is not just a refusal to speak, it is an active choice to elevate oneself beyond the pettiness of idle talk. It is a practice of wisdom, self-discipline, and compassion, aligning us with the path of mindfulness and right action. Let this be a reminder that our words are a reflection of our inner state. By choosing silence, we choose peace, and by choosing peace, we create a more harmonious world. Stay with us as we explore the next powerful moment where silence is the wisest choice. If this lesson resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps slow down continue spreading these valuable Buddhist teachings. Conflict is an inevitable part of human relationships. Whether it arises in families, friendships, workplaces, or even within ourselves, disagreements are a natural consequence of differing perspectives and emotions. However, what determines the outcome of a conflict is not merely what is said, but what is left unsaid. Buddhism teaches that silence in moments of conflict is not about passivity or avoidance. It is an act of wisdom, a conscious choice to step back and allow emotions to settle before responding. Words spoken in anger are often like arrows shot blindly, they wound. And once released, they cannot be taken back. Why silence in conflict is a strength, not a weakness. Many people believe that remaining silent in a disagreement is a sign of weakness. But in reality, it is a mark of inner strength. Silence allows us to disengage from the destructive cycle of argument, preventing escalation and giving space for mindful reflection. Silence prevents impulsive reactions. When emotions run high, our words become fueled by ego, frustration, and the need to be right. Silence allows us to pause and ask, is this response coming from wisdom or from my wounded pride? Silence creates space for understanding. Instead of rushing to defend ourselves, choosing silence lets us fully listen. In Buddhist philosophy, deep listening is a form of compassion. It helps us see beyond words to the emotions and pain underlying them. Silence fosters clarity. When we step away from immediate reaction, we gain perspective. Instead of being consumed by the heat of the moment, we can reflect on what truly matters. The art of mindful silence in conflict. Buddhism emphasizes the practice of right speech. Words should be truthful, beneficial, and spoken at the right time. However, sometimes the most skillful form of speech is none at all. Here are practical ways to cultivate mindful silence in conflict. Pause before responding. If someone says something hurtful, take a breath, count to 3. Observe your emotions rising but do not let them control you. Listen deeply, without forming a response in your mind. Instead of thinking about what to say next, focus entirely on the other person's words, tone, and emotions. Use silence to de-escalate. If an argument is becoming heated, withdrawing into silence can shift the energy of the conversation. Instead of feeding the fire, you are allowing it to cool. Reflect before choosing your words. Not every conflict needs an immediate response. If emotions are too intense, consider stepping away and returning to the discussion later with a clearer mind. Breaking the cycle of reactive conflict. Buddhism teaches that many conflicts arise from attachment, our attachment to being right, to being understood, or to having our expectations met. When these attachments are challenged, the ego reacts aggressively. However, when we practice silence, we break the habitual cycle of reactivity and choose mindful response instead. Silence does not mean suppression of emotions. It means observing them without letting them control us. By choosing silence in conflict, we invite wisdom, patience, and compassion into the conversation, allowing for a resolution that is based on understanding rather than ego. Silence as the path to inner peace. By mastering the art of silence during conflict, we cultivate equanimity, a balanced, peaceful mind that is not easily disturbed by external events. This practice not only helps in resolving external disputes but also teaches us to manage the conflicts within ourselves, between our desires, fears, and inner struggles. The next time conflict arises, pause, breathe, embrace silence as your ally, and watch how it transforms the energy of the moment. Stay with us as we explore the next powerful moment where silence is the wisest choice. If this insight resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and share your reflections in the comments. Your engagement helps slow down continue sharing timeless Buddhist wisdom with the world. Suffering is an inescapable part of human life. Buddhism teaches that dukkha, the reality of suffering, is one of the core truths of existence. Whether it is the pain of loss, disappointment, illness, or emotional hardship, suffering touches every life at some point. And in these moments, our instinct is often to cry out, seek answers, or express our distress to others. While this can be helpful in some cases, Buddhism also teaches the profound value of silence in times of suffering. Silence during suffering is not about ignoring pain or suppressing emotions. Rather, it is a path toward inner transformation, allowing us to turn inward and cultivate self-awareness, resilience, and spiritual growth. Why silence is a powerful response to suffering. Silence creates space for healing. When we experience suffering, the mind is often restless, searching for explanations, blaming circumstances, or dwelling on regrets. But true healing begins when we allow ourselves to sit with our pain. Observing it without judgment, silence gives us the stillness needed to process our emotions deeply rather than getting lost in endless thoughts and words. Silence strengthens our connection to the present moment. Suffering often pulls us into the past. Why did this happen? Or into the future, how will I ever recover from this? But Buddhism teaches that peace is found in the present moment. By embracing silence, we create the mental clarity to stay anchored in the now, accepting life as it unfolds. Silence allows us to observe the impermanence of suffering. One of the most profound teachings of Buddhism is anicca, impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, including suffering. When we sit in silence, we begin to witness the temporary nature of our emotions. Like waves in the ocean, pain arises and fades. By observing this truth, we cultivate patience and the wisdom to endure hardships with greater ease. Silence teaches self-compassion. Often, in moments of suffering, we become our own harshest critics. We might say, "Why am I feeling this way? I should be stronger." But through silence, we learn to listen to ourselves with gentleness and understanding. Instead of pushing pain away, we meet it with kindness, acknowledging that suffering is part of the shared human experience. How to practice silence in times of suffering. Sit with your emotions instead of escaping them. Rather than seeking distractions or venting impulsively, take a moment to simply observe your suffering. Close your eyes, focus on your breath, and acknowledge the sensations in your body and mind. Turn to meditation and mindfulness. Instead of drowning in thoughts, use silent meditation to cultivate inner stillness. Mindfulness helps us recognize that pain exists, but we do not need to become consumed by it. Write instead of speaking. If emotions feel overwhelming, journaling can be a powerful way to process them without needing to verbalize them to others. Writing in silence allows us to understand our suffering with greater clarity. Trust in the wisdom of impermanence. Remind yourself that this moment, no matter how painful, will pass. Allow silence to become a space of acceptance rather than resistance. Silence as a path to liberation. Buddhism teaches that suffering is not something to be feared, it is a teacher. Through silence, we develop the wisdom to understand our pain and the patience to endure it with grace. Over time, we begin to see suffering not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for growth and enlightenment. The next time you find yourself in the midst of suffering, try this. Instead of immediately seeking words to express your pain, take a breath, embrace silence. In that quiet space, you may find the strength, clarity, and peace you have been searching for. Stay with us as we explore the final powerful moment where silence is the wisest choice. If this lesson resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and share your reflections in the comments. Your engagement helps slow down, continue spreading timeless Buddhist wisdom with the world. Compassion is at the heart of Buddhism. When we see someone suffering, our immediate instinct is often to offer words of comfort, advice, or solutions. But sometimes, silence is the most compassionate response. When someone is grieving, in pain, or going through a personal struggle, they may not need explanations or reassurances, they may simply need presence. Buddhism teaches that deep listening, truly being there for someone without judgment or the need to respond, is one of the greatest gifts we can offer. Why silence is a powerful act of compassion. Silence respects the other person's experience. Each person processes suffering in their own way. When we rush to speak, we may unintentionally diminish their feelings by offering solutions or comparisons. Silence, on the other hand, allows them the space to feel and express their pain in their own time. Words can sometimes do more harm than good. Even well-intentioned words can feel empty or dismissive to someone in deep pain. Phrases like, "Everything happens for a reason," or "You'll be okay," may not provide the comfort we hope to give. In contrast, silent presence speaks volumes. It says, "I am here with you." Silence creates a safe space for expression. When we refrain from speaking, we invite the other person to open up at their own pace. Some people need time before they can put their pain into words. If we fill the space with advice or encouragement too quickly, we might unintentionally take away their opportunity to be truly heard. Deep listening is more powerful than speaking. Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Vietnamese Zen master, taught that listening with full presence is an act of love. When we listen in silence, we are not merely waiting for our turn to speak. We are witnessing another person's pain with genuine compassion and non-judgment. This alone can bring immense relief to someone who is suffering. How to practice compassionate silence. Be fully present. When sitting with someone who is suffering, put away distractions. Give them your full attention, showing through your presence that you truly care. Listen without interrupting. If they choose to speak, resist the urge to offer immediate advice. Let them express their feelings freely. Offer support through actions, not just words. A gentle touch on the hand, a warm embrace, or simply sitting beside them in silence can be more comforting than any words. Avoid trying to fix their suffering. Sometimes, there is no solution, only acceptance. Trust that your silent presence is enough. Silence is a form of loving kindness. Buddhism teaches that true compassion is not about having all the answers, it is about being there. In silence, we hold space for others, offering them the freedom to process their pain without expectations or pressure. So the next time you witness the suffering of someone close to you, remember, You don't have to say the perfect thing. You don't have to solve their pain. Simply be there, in quiet understanding. Your silent presence may be the most powerful act of kindness they receive. With this, we have explored 5 profound moments where silence is not just a response, but a path to wisdom, peace, and deeper connection. Final reflection. The transformative power of silence. Silence is often misunderstood as emptiness. But in Buddhism, it is seen as a sacred space, a space where anger dissolves. Gossip loses power, conflict softens, suffering is met with wisdom, and compassion deepens. By practicing silence in these 5 moments, we cultivate mindfulness, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence. We learn to respond rather than react, to listen rather than speak, and to hold space rather than fill it with unnecessary words. If these teachings resonate with you, let us know in the comments. Which of these 5 moments do you find most challenging? Your reflections help us grow as a community. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Slowdown in bringing more mindfulness into everyday life.